everybody, welcome. This is Kevin Richards from RockTheStageNYC.com with your vocal video tip of the week. Now, today's video tip is on cool down, warming down the voice after you've sang. Now, a lot of people, they always talk about warm-ups, but don't really talk a lot about warming down the voice. Warming down the voice is just as important as warming up the voice. Why? Because after all that singing is a very physical activity for the vocal cords. Like I said, the vocal cords are really only as big as your thumbnail. So they get an intense workout when you sing. So they can be a little bit swollen, and they have all that blood pumping through them. So just like as a runner who runs around the track and does a relay race or sprints, he doesn't suddenly just stop running. He'll walk for a while. He'll walk once around the track, or they walk for a bit, walk for about a quarter mile after they finished a marathon. Sort of let the muscles sort of slowly and gradually relax themselves. If they just suddenly started to ran across the finish line and stopped cold, their muscles could suddenly contract and tighten up, and they get cramps. Now, this is the same thing that can happen to the voice. Now, the voice, what happens is from over-abuse, if you're not singing well, you're just singing too long, the edges of the vocal cords on the inside can get a little swollen, and they get little bumps on them. And the vocal cords won't come together in a nice tight seal. They won't get that tight seal. So you've got those little bumps in there that create all those little gaps, and your voice kind of sounds a little scratchy, and it doesn't really come together really well. Well, there's two ways you can get the voice back into shape, and you never want to go to bed after a gig. You never want to go to bed with any sort of vocal fry or scratchiness or any sort of swollenness to your voice, because when you wake up in the morning, it's going to be just really bad. So you want to do this immediately as you can after you get off the stage, or after you start finishing. This is only, if you've sang, I'd say, for more than a half hour. I mean, if you're only getting up and doing 2 songs, you don't need to warm down. This is if you're one of those guys that gigs all night, you do 3 sets, or you sing for an hour. It's good to warm down the voice. And depending on how much you sing, or how hard you're singing, or what type of music that you're doing, the warm down will either be quick, slow, or a little bit longer. Your voice will kind of tell you when it's time, when you're sort of finished warming down. And if your voice comes off and you're a little scratchy and all that, here's a couple exercises to get them sort of back into shape. One is simply doing E. The sound E helps the vocal cords realign. If you've kind of got a little scratchiness going on in your voice after you get off and it sounds a little... E is a great exercise. And you just take this very simple E in a very light register right in your speaking voice and just E, and just kind of roll it around on some melodies. Just kind of make up a melody as you go along. E. I used to do Jingle Bells for some reason. I just kind of stood right there. Or just kind of slide it up and down like hills on a roller coaster, and just kind of don't forget to go down into your bottom range as well. That will help the vocal cords relax and realign. That's a good one. I used to do that one until my voice sort of stopped sounding scratchy. Another really good exercise is I call the bullfrog, which you don't really bulge out here. You bulge out in your cheeks, but it's like this. Now, if you watch my larynx, you'll actually see it drop down. Now, this has a very therapeutic, almost massaging effect to the voice, and it helps them sort of. It helps actually bring the swelling down. Don't quote me on that, ENTs, but in my experience, it has always. If I come off and I'm a little hoarse, or it feels a little swollen in there, if I'm screaming too much or whatever I was doing, which can happen. Yeah. I just walk around doing that. I look really stupid and silly, and people are wondering what the hell's wrong with me, but you can do that, and you can do the E's with a very slight open mouth. People don't even know you're doing them. This is great to do if you got to help the rest of the band sort of break down the gear and cart everything off the stage and pack up the guitars and the PA and all of that. You E. I mean, the standard one, people would say, you can do lip rolls or hums. A lot of what you do in sort of a warm-up, you'd want to do in a warm-down. But I find those kind of be a little embarrassing to sort of walk around going after a show. Especially if you're trying to unload equipment and try to pack up gear and stuff. It doesn't really work. Doing the E's, E, and for me, work really well. Try to work those into your routine. Anytime you sort of, even if you're just vocalizing for a half hour, 40 minutes, or an hour each day, like you should be, and your voice feels a little tired or a little tight or a little swollen, the bullfrog is a great exercise. Till next time, this is Kevin Richards of RockTheStage, NYC.com. See ya.